Hi there, welcome to Formidable Academy. In this video, we're going to look at guidelines on how you can get admitted at the university level for the course you desire to study just after matriculating. This video is more like a video I wish I had seen whilst I was in grade 8 or grade 9. It will also give you an overview of the subjects you need to choose if you want to study a certain course. For the purpose of this video, we are going to use medicine as an example, and as we go through the content, you'll be able to also see the subjects you are required to take in your FET level in order to qualify to be admitted at the university for the course you want. So the first thing you will have to do is to understand the course you want to study. Choose it. I'm sure by this time as you're watching this video, you might have an idea of what you desire to study. So in the case of medicine, you must also know its name. Different courses at different places at times might have different names. So for this case, we will know that in all universities in South Africa, I can say medicine is called MBBCH, which stands for Bachelor of Medicine and Surgery. Another example of courses having different names would be an engineering degree. It can be called Bachelor of Engineering. It can be called Bachelor of Engineering in Technology. It can be Bachelor of Science in Engineering. At different institutions, you will have different names, and in that case, you'll also have to do some further research on what each of those different names in like your course will like mean something, and what like every course entails. Because for example, Bachelor of Engineering and Bachelor of Science in Engineering are two different things. So it's very important for oneself to do their research in the name of the course they want to do and know if that name is exactly what you want or not. And then this will assist you with doing proper research when coming to the next stage of our guidelines. So the next stage in our guidelines, as you know which course you want to study, the next stage is to now go on to your search engine and search for the top 5 universities which offer the course you desire to study in your country. I'm in South Africa, so we're going to say top 5 medicine universities in South Africa, and then we had the list here. So the purpose of this exercise is to allow you to know, to say which is the best school in my country which offers the course I desire to study. It's very important for oneself to study at the best school. That's the most important thing. It will not make sense for oneself to say, I just want to study at university number 8 because it's close to me, but it's more intuitive for oneself to say, let me go study medicine at Stellenbosch because it's the number 1 university at the moment. At times, the credibility of these websites which give us information can be questioned, but what you can do also is to go on to also look at other sites and see what are the top 10 universities or top 5, and then we will just base our research today on these top 5 universities. And just as a bonus, I also did some research for university number 6 there. So what do we do now? We are now looking for requirements to enter in each of these universities. So what you will do there, you will go back to the search engine once again, and now what do? We just write on the search engine to say what are the entry requirements at Stellenbosch, or you can write Stellenbosch University Medicine Yearbook, and then this will give you a website or a PDF document which will have requirements and at times it will also have conditions of acceptance for people completing matric at different schools, IEB, Cambridge, and NSC, and other forms of matriculation standards. And then let's move on to clicking this one here. So what I found, it was a document, and the document in it there had the requirements as we want, and then it highlighted that it wanted an average of 70% in your matric results, and then it also wanted you to have a 60 for mathematics, 50 for physical science and life science. And then now we have done our research for university number 1, moved on to university number 2, and university number 2 was UCT, and UCT had different requirements for different individuals, persons taking a gap year, people who are from international school living, who have international school living certificates, and then the national senior certificate. And here we had what our APS scores to say what is required from each student. And in this one, the APS score mattered most than anything else, and the requirements were actually applying to a good number of courses. So that will be what you consider to say my APS score. You know yourself to say I am taking a gap year, which means I must have an APS score of 33 or above, or you know yourself, you just completed your school, and then you know you'll need to have 32 or 35. So this, when it says 32 and 35, it might happen to say if you have 32, you will be allowed to have a bridging course, to take a bridging course. Mostly when we bridge in medicine, you are allowed to do a course which is a Bachelor of Science and something related to medicine, and then if you perform well, you will be allowed to get into MBBCH. So now let's move on to the third university. This is the University of Pretoria. The University of Pretoria requires oneself to have 70 for mathematics, physical science. They want you to have 60% and above, and then our APS score there, that's 35. And as I said, you will have a lot of information you can read in these yearbooks or websites you get, and it's very important for oneself to understand how things go and how things work. I guess you see in this statement above here, you are getting information to say if you are bridging using Bachelor of Science, how things will go around and how will you get to reach your final destination, the course you desire to study, which is MBBCH. Now we're moving on to the University of Limpopo. In the University of Limpopo, we had the website, and they were not super clear on their entry requirements. On the site, this is what I could find to say they just want oneself to meet minimum requirements in English, mathematics, physical science, life science, and this was the most unclear site, but I guess oneself can go further in or try to call them to find out more about how they go about admitting students for medicine there. And then moving on to the next university, this looks like, which one is this one? It's the University of Free State. University of Free State says something to say oneself, you need to have a performance level of at least 50% in 4 subjects, and then LO is excluded. That's their requirement for oneself to study medicine at the University of Free State. And then lastly, university number 6, as I said, is the University of Witwatersrand. And this is what is required for oneself to study medicine at Wits, which is English, which is a 60%, mathematics at 60%, life science and or physical science is also required to be at 60%. And then that's the end of the research. What I can say about that is that those requirements I just showed you for different universities are basically minimum requirements. Like they are just minimum requirements, and most of them you could see that it was averaging between 32 35 APS score. A good goal you can have all the times just the maximum, to say aim for 35 APS, and then you can operate from there. And in terms of medicine specifically, as it is a very crucial course and it's a very well respected course, I can say the requirements are more than what you see there. Many people desire to study medicine, so it's best for someone to work as hard as possible and get an average of above 90% if possible for matric, because it's not pap and place to enter there. It's not a joke. It's not so simple as what we saw 70s. If you come with your 70, you have minimum requirements. This applies to all courses. You have minimum requirements. If someone has 90s and there is only one left spot, they will take that person who has better grades. So minimum requirements are just a guideline to say what do you need at minimum. But what matters is that you must have as high as like possible average on your matric results, because it's a battle for space. Some universities have an acceptance rate of about 6%. So it's best for someone to work as hard as possible and get to be admitted as easy as that. And the other thing about university is that you must also sort out your funding. And if you want to be funded by the NSFAS, so what is there is that there are also conditions there. They have introduced conditions to say if you are leaving matric in 2022 or any years further, I guess, if that contract will hold or that statement will hold, you need to have an average of 50% and above to get funding. If you're already a university student, you must have a GPA of 55 and above to get funding. So these results just tell me and you that it's a matter of working as hard as possible to get high marks. And we are speaking about good marks when we are having some average of above 70%, above 80%, if possible, even above 90%. This has been another episode brought to you by Formidable Academy, the home of distinctions. I hope you enjoyed the episode and you loved the content. Thank you very much.